Obviously big change for all the teams. The last couple of years we always knew kind of what to expect, which is very different this year. At the moment I would say expectations are fairly low.
From Montage, it needs to be better this year. We want the championship. Well, they got the constructors in Brazil, and now Sebastian Vettel wins in Abu Dhabi to be drivers' champion for 2010. It's a double for Red Bull. What a season!
We know from 2008. Don't count on it just yet until everybody goes over the line. The two
place there is a checkered flag. Alonso going for it, and they've done it. They will celebrate, and now the party really can begin. And if there's one team who knows how to party, it's Red Bull.
Okay, Sebastian, good job. I need to wait until everybody crosses the line. I need to wait, but it's looking good. You just wait, sunshine. You just wait. Hamilton, P2. Button, P3. There's another two cars coming round in 15 and 16. Rosberg, P4. Kubica, P5. Du bist Weltmeister!
Thank you, boys. Unbelievable. Thank you, I love you.
Sebastian Vettel, you are the world champion! The world champion, well done, enjoy it! You are the man!
So here we go again.
Some people have to learn.
It's time to work out how they are going to beat Sebastian Vettel.
He's certainly the benchmark for Formula One right now.
Some people have to find.
Fantastic set, brilliant way to start the year, fantastic.
The point is absolutely on it. The car is on rail.
You beauty, fantastic set. That was a champion's try.
Are we witnessing one of the true greats, the legends of the sport?
It seems as if he can do no wrong behind the wheel.
It's incredible. Incredible what we're witnessing.
This is a dream coming true for me.
Away we go for one more time in 2012. Fernando Alonso goes round the outside and Sebastian Vettel has already lost places, getting caught in no man's land on the inside. It's a Red Bull, it's Sebastian Vettel in the middle of the track. It's the worst possible scenario.
At that point you think that's it, it's over. It was obvious that Fernando, because he always is on the podium, was going to finish on the podium, which is what he needed to achieve to win the championship.
Usually in that moment you think it's over, you're out of the race. In that particular moment probably it's over, I'm out of the championship. But in that case I just wanted to get going again.
Our priority was to win the podium because whatever's happened to Sebastian, if we are not in the podium, we had no chance.
Alonso moves up into third place, which is where he needs to be if Vettel gets no points here today.
I didn't know how much damage there was, so I drove past the main straight close to the pit wall to give Adrian and give people a chance to have a look.
Sebastian, there's visible damage, but stay out to see how the car behaves. We cannot fix it. It's not front wing. We cannot fix the damage.
There was a lot of damage to the exhaust system and the aerodynamics in that part of the car. But then he started coming back.
Vettel's just done a quick lap faster than anybody else. This isn't over yet. Alonso's gone wide. Alonso's gone wide. Hulkenberg's gone past. Vettel's just trying to pick them off one by one. Fantastic by the Red Bull.
He was determined that he wasn't going to let the championship slip away.
I just kept going. Surprisingly quickly, I was behind Fernando.
Look at Hulkenberg challenging Hamilton for the lead. Oh, no! Oh, they've made contact! Hamilton and Hulkenberg! And now that's going to be Button leading and Alonso in second place! Hamilton's final race at McLaren ends with a damaged car.
Sebastian, the radio does not work. The radio does not work.
It was too dry for Inters at that point, so we had to stick to our basic rule of we've got to fit the right tyres for that moment.
This is a crucial call for Red Bull to keep him on slick tyres.
That's a brave decision from Red Bull.
And within 30 seconds it started to rain.
Box.
His radio had stopped working. He could hear us, but we couldn't hear him.
They didn't have the tyres ready. Look, it just took so long to get them on. Vettel's obviously made the call. The team haven't heard him. And he arrived in the pit lane, and then it was like, well, what does he want? It must be intermediates.
If they finish where they are now, Alonso would be world champion.
Again, at that stage, you think, that's it, it's gone. And you think it's all over. But then again, Sebastian started coming through.
Brave cut back into the inside.
And he got himself back into that vital 7th position that became 6th when, surprisingly to all of us, Michael Schumacher waved him through.
Michael Schumacher.
His gift in his last race is he doesn't put up any resistance at all to his young German friend.
We were really hoping that it would have been a better fight, but I think that Michael finishes his career there. He didn't want to be seen the one that was keeping the world champion behind.
Sebastian, this position is good enough. Your current position is good enough.
10 laps to go, I had the call that where we currently are is enough. But still I try to push because maybe, there's some odd situation, someone spins.
Andres has had a crash.
They are behind safety car. There will be no further changes. Jenson Button takes victory. Second place goes to Alonso, but with 6th place, Sebastian Vettel is the 2012 Formula One World Champion.
You're the world champion! You're the triple world champion, Sebastian Vettel! You are the man! You're a triple world champion!
Having succeeded and everything just falls off, and it just...
Straightforward, mate, wouldn't it? Straightforward.
In a way, you don't even have the power to maybe realize what happened or the power to celebrate the way you probably thought or dreamt of, celebrating.
Just loving what I do. I think he's in the form of his life at the moment. The way he's driving the car, he's got it right on the edge. It's great to see.
Multi-map 2-1.
This is silly, Seb, come on.
Wow, what racing this is! Here comes Vettel. Sebastian Vettel wins in Canada for the first time. Vettel in trouble. Vettel wins in Germany. The first time he's won his home Grand Prix. And Sebastian Vettel is definitely in control. Vettel wins in Japan.
Ichiban. Yes, boys.
Sebastian Vettel is the 2013 World Champion.
Brilliant, brilliant drive. You joined the greats.
We did it! Yes! Yes!
2010 has become the man for 4 seasons.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. We'll soon learn the true performance of these cars out on track. What can we expect to see in the following session?
Well, I think we're all expecting the Mercedes power unit to be particularly strong this year, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them at the front. But I wouldn't discount Red Bull or Ferrari just yet. We know they have the talent and the resources to react to any problem, so although they may be playing catch-up, I would expect them to bring some major upgrades pretty early, maybe before we even get back to Europe.
We don't think you'll have any trouble getting into the next session, so don't push too hard.
First of all, at Red Bull, Sebastian Vettel is joined by newly promoted Red Bull junior Daniel Ricciardo. Mercedes remain the same with Hamilton alongside Rosberg. A Ferrari comeback for Kimi Räikkönen sees him drive alongside another F1 veteran and now teammate, Fernando Alonso. Lotus F1 team have brought in Pastor Maldonado to replace the outgoing Kimi Räikkönen, who will partner Romain Grosjean. Another new driver at McLaren. This season it's Kevin Magnussen, who joins for his rookie year alongside Jenson Button. Big change of Force India this season, as it sees the return of Nico Hülkenberg back from Sauber. He will have the outgoing McLaren driver Sergio Perez partnering him for 2014. With Nico Hülkenberg departing, Sauber have brought in the experienced Adrian Sutil to partner the young Mexican Esteban Gutierrez. Daniel Ricciardo being promoted from Toro Rosso gives another young driver their chance in F1. This time it's Russian Daniel Kvyat, who will be alongside John O'Fern for 2014. Fresh faces at Williams. Not only do they have a new exciting engine deal with Mercedes, but experienced Brazilian driver Felipe Massa will join Valtteri Bottas, both hoping to make a good impression this year after a strong pre-season testing. No change at Marussia, Max Chilton's alongside the exciting Ferrari junior Jules Bianchi. And finally at Caterham, who have replaced Guido van der Garde with Marcus Ericsson, who will be partnered by Kamui Kobayashi. So you join us at the start of Q1 as Sebastian sets his fastest time for the session, which will be a 1:29.0, which puts him first ahead of Hamilton, Massa and Rosberg. This would end up being the only lap time Sebastian sets in this session, as there was no risk of elimination. As you can see there, Kamui Kobayashi, Marcus Ericsson, Romain Grosjean, Adrian Sutil, Max Chilton and Esteban Gutierrez are all drivers to be knocked out in Q1. As now we cut to the start of Q2, first lap, first run, on board with Sebastian Vettel going towards turn 3. Braking at the 100 metre board, hit the apex, oh he's just missed it there. Probably cost Sebastian around 5/10 on that lap. But at the end of that lap, Sebastian is placed at P5, Rosberg with a 1:27.3, which places him 7/10 behind. Sebastian Vettel set a 1:28.0, a second improvement on his Q1 time, but still 7.5 down on Nico Rosberg, who is leading qualifying 2.
Kevin Magnussen will be sorely disappointed to not make it into Q3 today. He'll have his work cut out now tomorrow to ensure he doesn't get caught up in any first corner collisions.
We now cut to the end of Sebastian's first Q3 run, the first of 2 he will be completing. Going through the last couple of corners now. It's been a fairly decent lap for Sebastian, he just needs to nail the penultimate and final corner. Lewis Hamilton has set a 1:28.0 as the fastest time, which is the fastest this weekend. round the final corner and onto the main straight. DRS open, and that's a 1:27.7. 7/10 down from Lewis Hamilton. And only 4th place, as Daniel Ricciardo just pipped Sebastian by 100th of a second. So Sebastian is going out for a second run now, and this will be a non-commentated lap. So there is the grid there for the race at the Australian Grand Prix in Albert Park. Nico Rosberg has grabbed pole with a 1:26.8. Lewis Hamilton not far behind with a 1:26.9. However, this lap has put Sebastian Vettel in 3rd place, just a 2.5 tenths away from Nico Rosberg and ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo.
For what is going to be a fantastic day of racing. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. What a great start to the season for Nico Rosberg. He's on pole for today's race. He'll be delighted with how qualifying went yesterday, but knows there's a lot of hard work to come before he can secure that race win.
Well, Nico will be focused on the task at hand. He's on pole position, he's proven his speed, and if he can just stay out in front, he should be able to create a gap. So I think he's got a good chance of victory today, as long as he has no car issues along the way.
So here is the top 10 on the grid. Kevin Magnussen alongside Nico Hülkenberg in 10th and 9th. Jenson Button qualified 8th alongside Felipe Massa. Lewis Hamilton with a 5th place grid penalty is qualified down in 6th with Fernando Alonso for company on row 3. Valtteri Bottas in 4th with Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd, with Sebastian Vettel promoted up to 2nd alongside Nico Rosberg. Vettel alongside Rosberg. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. It's a shocking start for Sebastian Vettel as Daniel Ricciardo's already passed, and that's Bottas alongside as well. Lewis Hamilton making place positions as well. He's 3 abreast with Massa and Alonso. That's a Mauritius round. There's a Lotus on the wall and the Force India on the wall as well with a Caterham. All seem to be going as well though. So, no safety car. So it's Hamilton from Ricciardo, from Vettel, from Bottas. Behind Bottas it's Fernando Alonso and then Lewis Hamilton. So here we have the replay from Jules Bianchi's car. He seemed to go on the side of the Force India and the Force India just cuts back in. Really unfortunate there. As the Force India must have avoided some debris or something. There was a swerve in McLaren as well. I don't know what he was avoiding. But the Force India just turns back in on the line. He collects a couple of cars as well there. That's the Caterham and the Lotus. And it resulted in a cataclysmic crash there between the Caterham, Lotus and the Sauber as well involved. But as we cut back to the live feed, we have Vettel behind Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously the same engine. Renault versus Renault. We know the Renault is down on the Mercedes by quite a substantial margin actually. But round the outside goes Sebastian Vettel. Can he make it stick on the inside in the next corner? It's Daniel Ricciardo tries to fight back on the outside, but he'll get squeezed out there. Vettel manages to hold it round the outside, and that is P2 gained back for Vettel. And he now pushes on to catch up to Rosberg. However, this drops Ricciardo back into the clutches of Valtteri Bottas. Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton are also very close as well. Fastest lap there from Nico Rosberg. But that's very close between Fernando and Lewis. Lewis is going to have a good run here into T3. And down the inside he goes. Can he make it stick for... He'll keep his nose in at the inside in the next turn. But Lewis seems to have got the job done as he has the drive. And swoops around into 5th position. Fernando Alonso just does not have the straight line speed or the car to even compete with the Mercedes this weekend. So as Sebastian rounds the final corner at the start, lap 4 of this Australian Grand Prix, he is currently gapped at 1.9 seconds behind Rosberg. That gap is coming down, but that is Bottas with DRS behind Daniel Ricciardo. And Ricciardo's going to be a sitting duck here on the straight with the straight line speed of that Williams, with a Mercedes engine behind it this season. Down the inside goes Bottas, but Ricciardo, last of the late breakers, hangs it around the outside and through the inside, it swoops back into third place. But now this drops Valtteri Bottas into the clutches of Lewis Hamilton. Obviously the same engine between them two. This is where the Mercedes has its advantages. It managed to deploy the ERS longer through the lap. And there it goes. Oh, Bottas hits the wall, but manages to hold it around the outside. Will he have damage? We don't know. He pushes Ricciardo wide. That drops him right back into the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, who tries to go around the outside. Inside, he darts round Ricciardo, and down the inside he goes. Will he make the move stick? Ricciardo's lost 2 positions in the space of 3 corners. Did Bottas get damaged there? It was quite a hefty whack on the wall, but he seems to carry on for now. Will this give Fernando Alonso a run at Ricciardo? No, just too far behind. Cutting to lap 5 now. Vettel is now closed up to 1.2 behind Rosberg as Rosberg pits. Rosberg pits for what will be either the soft or the medium tyre. Although this does confirm a 2-stop for Rosberg. He can't make medium tyre go 10 laps, can he? He'll still have pace at the end. We'll just have to find out. And that's also Bottas is in as well. So it looks like a definite 2-stop for them. This places Rosberg behind the 2 Toro Rossos, but still in the top 10. So Lewis Hamilton is 4 seconds behind. Cutting on to lap 7, Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo did both pit at the end of lap 6. And it leaves Vettel, Alonso, Verne, the top 3 in this race, running a little bit longer on these soft tyres, making them last, making them work. Which will be beneficial for the end of the race, where they'll have that just a little bit more life left in the tyres. It's a little bit wide there from Sebastian. A little bit of dust kicked up. It's a very quick left-right. The Red Bull crew is out in the pit lanes, so Sebastian Vettel will be pitting at the end of this lap. Are the lap times good enough to place him ahead of Rosberg? We'll find out. Has to be a good pit stop though. Breaking down to 37 miles per hour. The medium tyres go on for Sebastian Vettel. That's a 2.6 second stop. That's a good stop for Sebastian. Where does this place Vettel? Rosberg is already round the final corner. Powering down the straight right now. You see him there. And Rosberg just manages to keep ahead of Ricciardo, albeit a little bit closer there. Is that under a second? Rosberg gets past Jules Bianchi, who is down the order and already being lapped after 8 laps. After his first lap collisions with the Force India of Sergio Perez. Critical for Sebastian to get past Jules now, and he does. Lap 9 now, and into the DRS zone for Sebastian Vettel. He's getting closer, using a bit more engine mode perhaps on Nico Rosberg. Definitely closer through this section of the track. Sebastian is gained even further. Will he have a run into the quick left-right? He darts to the right, looks for a little run, just maybe to put off Nico Rosberg. As Sebastian sits in the slipstream, he looks again. Maybe trying to size up a move on Nico. He's definitely going to have a run. He's alongside Nico Rosberg. Down the inside. Oh, he's missed his braking zone. Oh, Sebastian's went straight on. And Nico manages to go straight back up the inside as Sebastian gets on the marbles on the outside. Vettel will have to wait one more lap. Maybe in this DRS zone. As no, Rosberg pits for his second time. So he's not going to make their mediums run to the end of the race. On lap 9, he pits for another set of mediums. Or will it be the soft? It's another set of mediums. So this will place him out in around 4th or 5th, which means he'll have some work to do to get even into the podium at this point, which puts Sebastian Vettel in a very, very, very good position to win this race. Although a very good recovery from Lewis Hamilton after that 5-place grid penalty is running in second ahead of Bottas and Alonso and Ricciardo. Fantastic left-right back. Towards the end of lap 10. Vettel comes up to the back of Gutierrez to lap Gutierrez, who is in 21st place, caught up in the first and second corner collision. But here we cut to some live action here of Felipe Massa going round the outside of Daniel Kvyat. He hits the wall as well. Another Williams. They must be built well. Does he get away with no damage? He does. And that's Felipe Massa up into 6th place ahead of Daniel Kvyat. Bottas has made his second stop as well, with him also pitting early with Rosberg, which promotes Alonso up into the podium. Very much damage limitation for Ferrari at this point in the season. Nowhere near the pace of the front runners. So here we're on the back of Jean-Eric Vergne looking back onto Daniel Kvyat, a battle for 5th and 6th here, as Massa also pits. But he's gone wide there and he's went onto the gravel. Is that a problem for Daniel Kvyat? Damage potentially picked up between him and Massa on that lap previous. But we cut onto lap 15 and Sebastian rounds the last couple of corners to win. Oh, whoa! He's hit Max Chilton there. Well, does he get away with it? He seems to have got away with the puncture free. But that was an awful hit there. And don't know what Max Chilton was doing there. He just needed a break 100 metres earlier. Let him through. But he rounds the final corner. Sebastian Vettel wins the Australian Grand Prix, starting the season out right.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
But here we're straight into a replay of what happened between Vettel and Chilton. Chilton gets up on the curb there, trying to let him through, but misjudges Sebastian coming through. It's a hefty whack there on the back, but Sebastian just gets away with it. Could have ended so much worse than that. But here's your top 3. Vettel, Hamilton and Alonso.
That win also sees the four-time Drivers' World Champion on top of the drivers' table. It's a fantastic start to the season for the German.
Well, Seb has definitely thrown down the gauntlet here to the other drivers. They've seen him dominate seasons before, so we'll be slightly worried whether this may be the start of another one.
After all this drama, you'd be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care.
So there was the top 10 in the championship after the first round in Australia. Join us in a few weeks' time for the Malaysian Grand Prix.